Hey guys, how's it going? This is a mealtime slash project slash I'm really excited video. Usually when companies send us stuff, we do a mealtime video where I open all of it and show you what I got. But Crown Bees sent me some really cool stuff and I thought it deserved a video all its own because I've always been a huge supporter of bees and helping the pollinators. And I tried doing honeybees last year and I failed at it. I will try again. But what Crown Bees does, they don't do honeybees, they sell solitary native bees, and I've been learning a lot about them. I thought you might be interested in seeing what I got. A couple of things I've learned is that there is a spring mason bee that comes out when orchids start to bloom, and they take care of all the early pollination in the cooler months. And then the leafcutter bee comes in the summer and does vegetables, later fruits, and flowers, herbs, things like that. And something that I think is really cool about them is that one solitary mason bee's pollination is equivalent to 100 honeybees. That ratio is insane. And the reason for that is when mason bees go in to pollinate, they get pollen everywhere on their bodies. They're really fuzzy and furry, and it's just like dry and loose all over their bodies. When honeybees go in to pollinate, they actually get the pollen wet and then pack it onto their legs. And you've probably seen that, the bees with the little pockets of pollen on their legs, packing them around. So when mason bees are flying around, that pollen's just falling all over the place, and it's getting, you know, from flower to flower, they're just releasing tons of that pollen, so their pollination is crazy good. A couple other things is that they're really gentle bees. They don't sting hardly ever. If they do, it's comparable to like a mosquito bite. And then the venom that they have is a type that doesn't cause anaphylactic shock. So if you're allergic or there's a problem with somebody, you don't have that worry. And the other thing is the initial cost seems to be a lot lower than honeybees. I got set up for honeybees last year and it was expensive. You could probably do it less expensive, but this, you hardly need anything and the work is way lower. You don't get honey like you would with honeybees, but you don't need the tools, you don't have to do the extra work, and you get all of the pollination that you need. Is that bad? So let me show you some of the things that they sent. So the first thing that I've been hanging on to this whole time is the Native Bee Guide. I've learned a ton just in this little pamphlet. They sent 3 different houses. This is the bee cabin, which I think is like the deluxe. It's really pretty. I like this. And then there is the bee hut, which is for obviously a smaller amount of bees. And if you've got a lot of white vinyl, there's a lot of white vinyl out there these days, it kind of blends in and you don't really see it. So you just put a couple screws through here and then just pop it in. It's really easy to install. And then there's this even smaller one called the Bee Haven that you just put one screw or a nail in somewhere and just hang it, and it holds a few little tubes. So this is great for like a smaller yard. And then a couple other things, they sent the Easy Tear tubes. These will be put inside for the bees to lay their eggs in. The bigger ones are for spring bees, the smaller ones are for leaf cutters. Leaf cutters are actually about 2/3 the size of a honeybee. They also sent wood trays. These are reusable, so these will last obviously a lot longer. I'll probably use these as well. So when you order your bee houses, they send you a bee certificate, and you get on their website and put in your little code for what kind of bees you want, and then just a few days later you get this in the mail. I haven't even opened it yet. Got a little instruction sheet, and there they are. 50 leafcutter cocoons. And leafcutter bees cut little pieces of leaves and roll them up and lay their eggs inside, and that's what becomes a cocoon for the newly developing bee. I've talked to people with this exact setup and they say they don't notice any evidence of leafcutters in their yards, and I suppose if you do the math and think about like how many leaves are just in one big tree, I probably won't notice the evidence of 50 of these in my yard, but I do hope that I see evidence of increased pollination, so we'll see. So now I'm gonna head outside and install my cabin. I'm gonna use this one. They recommend that you install it in a place that gets morning sun so the bees can warm up with the sun, and then also in a place that's protected from wind, and preferably in a place that has an overhang so it's protected from rain. But you can install it like right at eye level so you can watch what's going on in there, and it keeps it up off the ground like for mice or other predators. So let's go. I'm gonna install this right here. This is the back of our potting shed, and I thought it would be a perfect spot because it gets morning sun. Morning sun is already past us, and it has a little bit of an overhang to protect it. So it's got a hole in the back. I'm just gonna put a screw in the wall and hang it up. Boom. That was easy. Now I'm gonna put in my wood trays and my easy tear tubes. All right. And you're kind of supposed to put these in a little bit willy-nilly because they recognize based on positioning of their hole which one is there. So when they're off flying, when they come back, they might think like, okay, my home is the one to the left of the one that's sticking out the furthest. I didn't know that they did that. All right, and then my bees. Then you are supposed to open up this little bag and either put them on top of the tubes or behind. There should be enough room left behind all of these tubes and stuff to lay them back there. Or if the house has an attic, they said you could put it right up there. So that's what I'm gonna do. Just like that. And so when they emerge, they'll kind of crawl around and get acquainted with their home. So we'll see how this goes and try to keep you guys updated. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.